If you want to see the full audio cast, make sure you go to the description box, click the link, and go over there and watch it. And you can also download the show as well. I want to speak on Dave Chappelle. You know, Dave Chappelle has been one of my favorite comedians for a long time. And he did this stand-up recently that got a lot of people in tears. He angered the alphabet community. He angered a lot of these women groups, these feminists, these SJWs. You know, there was some times in this particular stand-up where it got cringy when he talked about Macaulay Culkin and Michael Jackson. You know, just some cringy stuff, you know, and how he talked about the Me Too movement and, you know, women talking about how they want equality, but, you know, either they want to truly be equal or they just need to be quiet. And I think he was right. You know, I think that I even saw a lot of black females that were upset at him for this stand-up, and they were, from what I understand, they were mad because of what he said about the alphabet community. And these are black women who claim to be, you know, who claim to want to be in relationships with men, but they had a big problem with this. Let me tell you why. Because you got sisters, unfortunately, who have swallowed the indoctrination pill of BS of feminism and social justice. Even though you got some of these quote unquote brothers who claim that they're social justice warriors, which is laughable to me because they're too busy, you know, teaming up with the same people they claim that they are against. You know, it's very interesting that you got these guys, right, who are upset at what Dave Chappelle said. But they won't refute anything he said. They're just going to be fake outrage because everybody else is fake outrage. This is the type of society that we are in, people. Nobody can take a joke anymore. Everybody's offended. Everybody wants 50% equality. They don't want 100% equality. Like Dave Chappelle said in his stand-up, he said women should have a right to choose if they want to carry a pregnancy to term, and men have every right to say they don't want to take care of the kid if she has it. And I think there are people who are upset at that. But again, aren't we talking about equality? What is equality without two people being able to make decisions on one particular situation? They're able to make different decisions because, you know, us as men, for the most part, you know, we have to go along. We can't think for ourselves. It's very dangerous for us to think for ourselves. This is why you have a movement of men who are saying, you know what, I don't want to marry women. I don't want to, you know, start a family with them. I don't even want to be in a relationship with them. I don't want to work with them. I don't want to be around them. I want to avoid them, because they feel like there are women out there who are just looking for any reason to tear a man down. Honestly, though, I don't think that's what it is. I think that you have people who are opportunistic. They look for every type of advantage that they can get. And because they're looking for every advantage that they can get, okay, you have to be careful of how you interact, because those interactions are going to play a big part into a situation that it could benefit them. Let me just say this. Let's say you're in a workplace with a female, right? You got the Me Too stuff going on. Let's say that you're alone with them and you're having a conversation with them. You get a little too comfortable with them, and they use that particular situation against you and say, you know what, he said something, or he may have approached me inappropriately. I'm uncomfortable. Something needs to be done. Then they come to you and they want you to either admit to what you did, or you're out of a job. And it's almost like, well, what do I have to admit to? I did nothing wrong, but they don't care because it's always going to be her word against yours. That's what the Me Too movement has done. Now, again, there are guys out there who I truly believe deserve to be you know, pushed out of whatever position of power they were in because they were misusing it. Okay, I believe that there have been things done in this situation that actually were, I have no issue with. But what I have an issue with is you have a whole, you know, movement that really has done nothing but try to, you know, women have tried to wipe the slate clean from decisions that they made as far as trying to sleep their way to the top, allegedly. Not saying that they're having a situation where these guys did something wrong, because of course a lot of these guys, the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, some of these other guys, they've done things that were wrong. That's why they settle lawsuits. But in every instance, nah, it sounds to me like you're trying to clear your conscience. That's what it seems like, and that's what the perception is going to be. You know, Dave Chappelle is a guy who has always pushed the envelope. Comedians always used to push the envelope. You can go back to Chappelle's show. He pushed the envelope. He talked about how, you know, he was told by the Comedy Central person that was basically in charge of making sure they don't say crazy things or do crazy things on the show, came to him and said, you cannot say the F word. He said, fine, but you have no issue with me saying the N word. And they said, well, you're not a, you know, you're not a rainbow gang. You're not a rainbow person. And he said, yeah, well, I'm not an N-word either. You know? And I thought that was very interesting, because I think us as melanated people, we have gotten way too comfortable with saying the N-word. I have cut back on my use of the N-word. I have to catch myself at times, you know, saying that word. Because if you think about it, if you're an intellectual and you do more thinking than talking, you're going to realize that, yes, saying that is not good. It's not good to degrade yourself. No other community use those terms with each other, but because we don't have any morality or standards in our, you know, community anymore, we just use that word freely. We even allow people from other groups to use it. And let me just say this to you, other groups of people who get upset because you can't say the word. I don't care if you hear the word in music. You should have some sort of decency and some common sense and understand the history of that word, and not sit up there and try to make arguments as to why you should say it. You know, there is a historical context with it, and you sound completely foolish by trying to argue for the fact of why you should be saying that word. You should not be saying that word at all. But because you got people out here who mentally, they're just not all there. The mentality of people, the work ethic of people have gone down. People no longer care about being intellectual. They no longer care about facts. They no longer care about having a work ethic. You got people out here begging the government for money. And it's like, how is that going to benefit your community? Let's say I go with the pro-black argument of we need reparations, right? If we looking to get reparations, okay. And I know I've gotten way off the topic. I'm gonna get back on it. But I just want to say this. If you encompass everything Dave Chappelle said in his show, look at the situation we have now. We have a very divided community. You have people who support these liberal policies that have done nothing but rip up these families and keep us divided, keep us against each other. Why? Because you have a certain segment of us, they want to get a pat on the head from the quote unquote dominant society. And because they want to get a pat on the head from the dominant society, if you are a melanated man and you speak your truth, you speak the way that you want to, you speak without fear, you say what you want to say, you don't go off a script, or you don't follow the 90%, you're going to be looked upon as the bad guy, unfortunately. Unfortunately, you're going to be looked upon as somebody who is not following in line, because we have too many people in our community that follow in line. This is why you can't find too many melanated media anywhere. You know, even some of the black websites, some of the black magazines, they've all been sold to different companies. BET, they were sold off to Viacom years ago. But even though YouTube has given a lot of us a platform to create real black media, a lot of people have failed because they get caught up in worrying about who likes us and who doesn't. How about we look to gain power through seeking out resources, seeking out gaining, basically trade partners, people who we can work with, because you're not going to be a successful community if you can't work with other people and show strength. And that strength comes from the men. And that's one of the things I saw in Dave Chappelle's stand-up. It's about, especially about us as black men being men, not fearing what other people say about us. And too many of us are afraid of everybody not liking us, everybody not accepting what we have to say. We can't worry about that. We have to worry about our families. We have to worry about the fact that foreigners are in control of the communities. I know some of you are not going to like this rant, but this is me, taking looking around, and I'm saying, Dave Chappelle should be getting a lot of support, and he is. But unfortunately, there are a lot of his own people who are speaking out against him because he did not toe the party lines. He stepped on some toes. Let me tell you something. He's a comedian. That's what comedians are supposed to do. Comedians are supposed to be edgy. Comedians are supposed to go out there and offend some people. That's what comedy is all about. Comedy has gotten boring ever since this social justice BS has continued to control people across social media and across the lamestream media. And it's because too many of us are afraid to just be ourselves and speak honestly.